Aloha and welcome to Author Talk. I'm Laura Yerxa coming at you from the Big Island, and I'm really excited about my guest today, Michelle Jeffries. She has an amazing story. It's a must read for anybody that's really come out of a very tragic situation and needs some guidance on healing and just how to move forward. Her book is very profound that way. It is called My Rainbow to Keep. I have it. I have it
Thank you.
on my. Yeah, there you go. It's hard to see on the Kindle.
Yeah, I
My
thought I'd bring.
yes, and Michelle, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Lori. I'm so happy to be here with you guys today. Thank
Yeah.
you for having me.
Yes. So, well, tell us a little bit about yourself first. And
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm Michelle Jeffries, and I have worked in the health and wellness industry for over 15 years. 10 of those years, I worked for the United States Navy as a fitness manager and personal trainer, nutrition specialist.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful years working for the United States Navy. I wish I was still doing that, but
Mm.
unfortunately, my husband is military and we moved. I have three beautiful children. Raiden, he's 23, Zoe, who is forever 14,
Mm-hmm.
and my little blessing, Lottie, who is 3.5. And now,
Wonderful.
yeah, I get to stay home now. I'm a stay at home mom and homeschooling and blogger and now author.
Right on. Fantastic. Fantastic. And so your book is about your forever child Zoe, forever 14. And
That's right.
yeah, so I don't want to say too much. So kind of just tell us why you wrote the book.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
my book is a memoir and it's surrounding the death of my daughter. My daughter was murdered in the Marysville Pilchuck High School shooting October 24th, 2014.
Yeah.
And that was kind of at the height when all these high school shootings were going on.
Mm.
I I hope that we won't see any more.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I feel like we probably will.
Mm-hmm.
But in our situation, we the shooter was a friend and he wanted to commit suicide and he wanted to take his friends with him. So
Mm.
he took his friends with him, unfortunately, and my daughter was one of those friends. So my book is what I've gone through in the last 6 years, the process from start to finish. Well, there's no finish,
Yeah.
but basically everything that I've gone through. We had it was all over the media.
Mm-hmm.
So there was dealing with the media while you're
Yes.
trying to be a grieving mother, and then trying to be a mother still to my son. And then my son, he was at the high school then too, and he's going through what he was going through, and I'm trying to parent him. And then I was going through a divorce at that time, and there was just a lot going on in my life. And so it's basically just my story, but in
Mm-hmm.
order to tell her story, I needed to kind of tell my story. But I also wanted to tell people who she was,
Yes.
because everyone that didn't know her only knows the tragedy. And that for me was hard as a mom. Like, I don't want my daughter remembered as a tragedy. I want her remembered as the beautiful girl that she was, and the artist that she was, and what she could have been. And I just wanted her to be remembered that way. And so the best way that I could do that was to write who she was and who I thought she was going to be, and all the things that drove me to heal or towards healing, because I'll
Mm-hmm.
never be healed.
Mm-hmm.
But I just, and then I also, I had started a blog 2 years ago before I wrote the book, and had just been so inspired by so many other parents, not just mothers,
Mm-hmm.
parents who are grieving and they can't get past certain points, because there's so many levels and points and areas that you just get stuck.
Yes.
And that kind of prompted me too. It was like, there's these areas that we aren't finding help in. You can go to all the therapy you want, but we're just getting stuck. And so I wanted to put a book out there that would help them kind of maybe get past there.
Mm-hmm.
If they could see someone else had been there and struggled and got up off that floor, or, you know, yeah, took prescription medications, but I got past that. Or,
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
you can get past it, and it's awful, and it's still awful every day, but there is some light. I just kind of wanted to be a part of that. And for me, that's what helps me. I still read people's books, and, it sounds awful reading other people's tragedy, but it's what you have to do to survive this.
It helps, and that's why I love your book, because your story is I mean, just to get the phone call that your child died at school. I worked in an emergency room once, and a mom came in and got that news, and the primal force that you talked about. I mean, she hit the floor, and that was it. I was an admin. I wasn't a nurse or anything like that, but you talked about her being an artist, and so there's some significance to your cover, your book cover with the rainbow.
Yes. The rainbow for us is huge. It's so funny because in kindergarten, she drew a rainbow, colored it, and of course, kindergarten level art is, but the day she died, there was a rainbow over the school. And I didn't see it. Obviously, I didn't see it, but everyone to this day, sends that picture. And
wow.
Today, I forgot to tell you this, today, there's as a rainbow. And I, this morning, have received photos of rainbows from my son, from my good friend Keegan. Both sent me rainbows and said, there's a rainbow outside 2 hours ago. A rainbow.
Oh my gosh.
And
I'm going to cry. That gave me chills.
I know. And it's always, anytime I have a big event, anytime I have anything, flying into Washington for this big book signing event, we were flying in, and my little one and I looked out the window, and there was a rainbow in the clouds. It's like she knows that signifies that she's with us.
Yeah.
So
and brings comfort. Brings comfort, and she's liking what you're doing. Helping a lot of other people.
Yeah. So back to the kindergarten thing, I happened to find that, as I'm going through her things. And so I keep that, because it's like, look, she drew that in kindergarten, knowing that we would find it with her picture. And it's like, she just shows us rainbows all the time. And so, that was why her book.
Yes. And you found that picture like years later. I mean, it's only been 6 years, but several years later, right? And so I love that. I feel like I want to say, keep looking for little gems around the house. You
Always,
might,
There's probably so much more that I'm going to find over the years. That's what,
Yeah, so it's like a treasure hunt, little gifts sprinkled along the way. I love it. And the picture is in the book, and it's so cute. I love kindergarten, first grade drawings. I don't know if you can see you can't really see that picture because it's far away, but that's like, I worked as a substitute teacher, and that's like a little teddy bear, and it's so cute.
For you. Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
good.
One of the things that I thought was interesting, that kind of stuck out to me in your book, were the things that trigger you, and specifically the saying that is so common, and that it's not the way that I speak generally, but even after I read your book, I got frustrated and said, just shoot me. And that your ear is probably more tuned to that, and hear it everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
What's funny, my dad said it yesterday. You just it is such a common term, and I say it. I actually, the other day, I said, just kill me. Those are the common terms that people say, but they mean so much. They mean something so differently once you've lost a loved one.
Yes.
And especially when you've lost a loved one tragically to gun violence, that for me is like, I mean, my ears perk up. I instantly have my flashback, and it's just, it is what it is. I've learned to, I don't crawl up into a ball anymore and want to,
yes,
hide from the world. I'm definitely past that, but it definitely is a trigger, and it definitely brings her being shot, to the forefront, because she was shot in the face. And so I have to live with that every day, and
yes.
so hearing that is a trigger for me. And but it's something that I work through. And any parent that's lost their
Yes.
child tragically, have to work through that.
Yeah, and just be prepared, and it sounds
Hmm.
like you've developed, um, for lack of really a better way of putting it, but maybe the right way of putting it, a coping mechanism to not let it get into your psyche.
Yes, and
Yeah.
most definitely, the world doesn't change for us. The
Mm-hmm.
world continues on. We have to adapt, and so that is a struggle, because I think, when your world is broken, you want everyone to cater to you, and
Mm-hmm.
they move on, they continue on. You don't, you are stuck. And that's where I talk about getting stuck. And you think, why is no one, where'd all my helpers go? Well,
Yes.
helpers go away after a few months. We live with
Yeah.
this forever. They
Yes.
go on, they move on. You have to find your own coping mechanisms to survive this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard. And that's why, I wanted to have books. I love reading books, and I love reading other people's blogs, and I don't love that they struggle and that they've been through tragedy, but that is what helps me move forward, because I see that I'm not alone. And I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to say, hey, I also have a story that maybe this will help you too.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to be the last book, that's going to help someone, but if I'm a book in the library that can help someone, I
Yes.
sure, I sure hope so. Even if it's just one line out of my book that helps somebody, I sure hope so, because it's so
Yes.
lonely, so lonely.
Yes. I mean, I can't even imagine imagine that, but you do so beautifully write out your healing process and the different things that you did, and I think it was just about everything, which is understandable. So what is one or two that just really kind of helped you break through?
Well, it took me a really long time to get back into therapy. And, people go back and forth on therapy because
Mm-hmm.
it's like hit or miss.
Yeah. Yeah.
But really, if you find that counselor that you connect really well with, then I
Mm-hmm.
say go for it. I struggled with that. And it really, honestly, only the last 2 years have
Mm-hmm.
I found that perfect counselor that we talk.
Yes.
I mean,
So yeah.
we're like that now, but it took me a really long time.
Good.
Um, I also, this is not for everyone, but
Mm-hmm.
I cannot say enough wonderful things about my medium.
Mm-hmm.
And I was one person prior to that who would have never, ever went to a medium. But when I was searching for answers, I went to a million mediums, and I
Okay.
was willing to pay whatever to
Yes.
talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, unfortunately. But I finally found my medium, and
Mm-hmm.
she gave me what I needed. And it's not for everyone. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not trying to promote her by any means, but for
Mm-hmm.
me is what I needed, and it's what worked
Mm-hmm.
for me.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and so, and now, I don't need her quite as much, but we are really good friends, and,
Mm-hmm.
we have a friendship now, which is wonderful. But at the time is what she helped me cross over into that healing, because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have, I didn't have faith. I didn't have, a faith that I was connected to. So I didn't have that relationship with God like most people do. And I didn't have anything to attach to. And so
Okay.
for me, that is what I needed. And that's what helped me. But I know that that's not the norm for everyone. And I
Right.
and I say that in my book, you have to find what works for you. And I hope you find something. And whatever that is, find it.
Yes,
You
and
know?
just keep looking. Kind of like you
Yeah.
said, if the first counselor you go to doesn't click, don't get discouraged. You've got a whole lifetime, to find the right combination, as you
Yeah,
did. It just takes patience. Yeah.
it does.
Uh,
And there's so many other options. Like, some people find solace in massage therapy, or,
mm-hmm.
maybe it's not talking to somebody. Maybe it's just being secretly reading blogs and reading books. Maybe that's what you find that helps you. And maybe,
Mm-hmm.
you like meditation, and maybe you like getting massages or foot massages or whatever it is. But, find something. I love to walk. I do a lot of walking,
Mm-hmm.
and that's my nature time, and I walk and I get all my thoughts out, and I do a lot of that. So there's not just one thing that works for me. I walk a lot. I go get a lot of massages, and I've recently gotten into reflexology. I really
Mm.
enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, there's just so many different things, and I think it changes as time goes on. You find
Mm-hmm.
different things that work for you, and but the biggest thing is to take care of yourself and be
Mm-hmm.
kind to yourself, and know that there is no fix for grieving and healing. When I say healing, I don't say you're going to be healed, because you won't. This is
Right.
forever. I
Yeah.
will I will die with this. I will go
Yes.
to my grave with this.
Yeah.
And but in order to survive it, you're going to have to find ways to manage it.
Yeah. So it's important when you can start functioning again, really, after that you do develop some kind of self-care routine, just because there's going to be days when somebody else can't help you.
Right.
Like you said, at some point people get back to their own lives, and so you've got to have a self-care routine that you can rely on of
Yeah.
your own. um,
They do. And perfect example. I was talking to a really close friend the other day, my friend Lindsay, and she said, I'm always there for you. You can tell me anything. And I said, yeah, that's true. But do you want to hear that I want to die every day? Did you want to hear that I don't want to be on this earth?
yeah.
And she broke down. She didn't want to hear that. And of course not. Nobody wants to hear that. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to tell my friends that every day and make them feel bad every day, because that's not what you do.
Yeah.
You keep all that, you keep that inside,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to. And that is where it gets lonely, because you're alone, and you don't tell that to anybody.
Yes.
And that's where the loneliness in grieving a child, that's where it gets really lonely.
Yes. Is there in just specifically parents of school shootings, is there a larger support group for that community?
It's really hard to find. I
Yeah.
ever since I started my social media pages, I have
Mm-hmm.
had a few people reach out to me that were not school shooting related. They were other tragedies, very tragic. And
Mm-hmm.
they said that they scour child loss pages. They scour them, and they're looking for tragic loss, and they
Mm-hmm.
can't find it. They can't find it. And they've somehow found me.
Uh-huh.
And they just, you know, all child loss is awful. Don't get me
Yes.
wrong. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to categorize it by any
Right.
means, but
Right.
they find infant loss, or, stillbirth, the different levels of what is most common.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
they're having a hard time finding tragedy.
Okay.
So I think there's definitely a need. And
Yes.
my counselor said the same thing. There's definitely a need. And maybe it's because we don't talk about it, because we're so, I don't know, we're so removed from it. We don't want to talk about it, but I think we need to start talking about it, because we are alone.
Yes.
I'm very alone. I don't have anyone to talk about it with. I do have the other moms that
Mm-hmm.
were affected by this.
Mm-hmm.
We do talk,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't talk all the time,
Yeah.
and we have our different, ways that we have tried to move forward. But
Yes.
I think there is a definite need for tragic child loss support groups. And
Yeah.
maybe I need to start one,
Maybe it's for you. Yes.
but
Yes.
again, it's one of those things. My husband says, you can't take that on. That's a lot. It is a
It is
lot.
a lot. Yes.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Um,
it's,
well, and another way that you spoke about in your healing process, and it might be everybody's way. I'm not sure, but that is to keep keep your daughter's memory alive. Can you speak into that a little bit and why that's so important?
yes. Well, for me, I've always just been a really positive person. My background is health and wellness, and I have a lot of clients, and my job is to be the positive.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's just my personality in general. But when your child dies, and you need a way to have them around you
Mm-hmm.
always. And you don't want them to ever be tucked away or never thought of. I mean, I think of her all day long, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to constantly do things for her because, normally if she was here, I'd be doing things for her every day, all
Yes.
day long.
Yes.
So, in the beginning, I wanted to have a scholarship and I was like crazy, like almost borderline crazy trying to get these things done. And in time, they have come
Mm-hmm.
along. And
Mm-hmm.
now I finally have that scholarship that I wanted. And I have, the things I wanted to get done. But in the beginning, you kind of get a little crazy. So it's important because you feel like you're honoring them constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the same as if they were here every day. I want to
Okay.
make her breakfast every day. I want to buy
Yeah.
her school clothes. I want to take her shopping for makeup, and I can't do those things. So now I can because I created a Zoe Rain Galasso Memorial Scholarship at the school
Mm-hmm.
that she was shot at, which was very difficult for me because I just struggled with connecting with that school again.
Yes.
But it's important to have it at that school because that's her community,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and those kids deserve to have that scholarship. So
Yes.
I feel amazing that I got the courage and was able to do it. And now that it's there, I feel wonderful about it. But it
Yes.
took me 6 years to get there. Um, so we have that. We do random acts of kindness in her honor all the time. Just,
So
anything that I can think of.
yeah, so it sounds like in those two things, which probably the day you made the phone call to the school or you got the thing organized, the scholarship, there was probably a rainbow. I bet.
Well, the day that I decided to write this book,
Mm-hmm.
and my neighbor, who is my mentor,
Mm-hmm.
she came out and she said, "Oh my gosh, come out of your house." We came outside and there was a double rainbow over both of our houses. The day I said, "Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to write this book."
Yes.
I came outside, double rainbow over both our houses. We were just like, wow. I don't know about the scholarship. It was in the late evening, but I'm sure she was dancing up there
Yes.
with pride. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So
Yeah.
the with the scholarship and the random acts of kindness, you're remembering her by helping others, which is so amazing, kind of giving back. Yeah, I love that when um, somebody else can benefit,
Yes.
and be helped. And I'm sure the whole community um, appreciates that, you know. So,
I really hope so. Yeah. I'm yeah, even with this book, I've already had some feedback that, this book is not just for individuals or for grieving parents. It has really helped the community.
mhm,
Our community of Marysville was broken, you
yes.
know, as much as it affected us as the parents, that community, it broke that community.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so for them to see that, one of the parents is moving forward, I think it's helping with their healing. I've had a few of the parents within the community whose children were in that cafeteria that day, and
Hmm.
they can't thank me enough for
Yeah.
helping. And at my book signing on Saturday, I had students that honestly that broke me. I had
Wow.
students with their books.
Oh, yeah.
Have
Oh,
them.
gosh, that's fantastic. With with the other parents and all of that, there's also the parent of the shooter, the mom and dad of the perpetrator, um, which which I'm sure made a lot of people very angry, right?
Yes.
How did you kind of heal and move through, or I mean, did you really hate, like, what happened with you toward the parents of the shooter?
That's an interesting thing. I forgive the child because he was a 14, 15-year-old child, and
Yeah.
he obviously had some underlying issues that we were
Mhm.
all unaware of.
Mhm.
I write that in my book. I forgive him because he didn't know better. And in
Yeah.
this day of age, we failed him
Mhm.
because how did he get to that point?
Yeah.
That's where I struggle. I struggle because somehow he got to that point, and as a parent, he should have never got to that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel bad for his mother because as a mother, no one should lose their child.
Mhm.
But I do have some anger towards his parents because somehow they failed him. But I do forgive him because he was a child.
Yes.
And a child should not have access to firearms. Child should not be feeling as if their only option is death.
Yeah. Now the anger that's kind of still inside towards the parents. Do you want to be able to release that, or does that kind of, in a way, give you comfort? I mean, these are real things.
Yeah, I mean,
you know.
I think, I'm a true believer in karma. I really am.
Okay.
And there's nothing that I can do in this life that can change the way that they've lived their life. There isn't. And I can only do what I can do, and that's move forward in my own healing. And, I know them as community members, and that's the extent of that. There's nothing that I could do.
Yeah.
And, they've made their choices in life, and they're going to have to live with the choices that they've made in life. I have made my choices in life, and I have to do what I have to do. I feel good in knowing that I forgive the child. I don't have this underlying amount of anger that haunts me.
Okay.
So I feel good moving forward where I'm at. Yeah.
Good. So you were able to find peace.
Yeah, I definitely have peace, but of course there's going to be an anger segment at the fact that how did your child get to that point? So there's that,
That's hard.
It's over here. But it's more of a wonder, I guess. It's more of a wonder as to how did your child get to that point? Okay.
Yeah.
Where did you fail? And I say we because I think more community. Where did the community fail this child? How did we as a community not see the signs? I didn't. I saw that kid a lot in, extracurricular activities. I never thought, I would have never guessed it. So, and that's how you just never know what goes on behind closed doors. You don't know.
Yes.
True. And so of course the community missed it, but we missed it and we failed. And so it's kind of hard to hold on to anger when you don't know the answer.
Right. And that's such a healthy perspective. If you don't know, you don't know. What can you do? So yeah, it's harming you more to hold on to the anger.
It is. Yep. And you have to let it go.
Yes.
I have other things that I have to focus on for my own wellness and for my family. I have to be well for my family. I have a little one now. I have a 23-year-old son that needs me. Yes. He's getting married.
Next year. Goodness. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I'm going to have grandchildren.
Yes.
Going to have grandchildren. And I have to be well for that.
Yes. And that kind of leads me into the next thing I wanted to talk about, which a lot of people, especially in the beginning, or they get asked, do you think you'll have another baby? Will you be able to, have another child? How did that work out for you?
I had Lottie, and we were very blessed. I was 38 years old when I got pregnant with Lottie, and then, we wanted to have so many more children. But unfortunately, my childbearing days are over, so Lottie will be the last. Unless somehow Zoe, I'm looking up, somehow Zoe, you decide to bless your mother with another. But no, I pretty much we are done. We did. We've tried. Yeah. It's not going to happen.
Okay. So you went ahead and had another baby, and you don't look at your child and then that makes you miss Zoe or anything like that, or?
Well, I truly believe that, Zoe played a part. Her little sister has blue eyes, which is so funny because both of my current husband and my ex-husband, we have brown eyes. We both have brown eyes. So the odds of having a blue-eyed child are 0.06%. Both of my girls have blue eyes. They both have light brown hair. They both have double cowlicks with the exact same part.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow.
And, they could almost, it's amazing. So I think that she knew my heart, and she knew that I needed that blessing.
Mm-hmm.
I think she knew that I was going to do great things and that I needed to have Lottie to not replace her, but to continue to have all of those mother-daughter memories.
Yes, yes, because you do speak about all the memories that will be missed with Zoe now, but you get to have them with Lottie.
Yeah.
Love
And
that.
I
I
think,
just love that. Oh, so much. In in the in the very end, I all the journal prompts. You wrote journal prompts because I know everybody grieves differently, but writing is so healing and so cathartic, and you can really
yes.
write down kind of exactly how you're feeling. And I love the prompts uh,
Yes. Now
that you gave.
I have to give credit. Those journal prompts, actually, my editor, who is amazing, Melanie Lemus, I originally had wanted to do some questions, more of a question and answer, kind of a reflection type question answer in the back. So she actually came up with the journal prompt idea and pulled from the questioning.
Okay.
So I do a lot of journaling. And a lot of the questions that we used in the back were, kind of connected to what I do for journaling, but I have to give credit to those journal
Mm-hmm.
prompts because my editor is amazing. She really is, and that was more her than me. And I did on my re-edited my book actually to put that in there because I was like, I cannot take credit for that. She really, that was her.
Yes,
That
and
really
they're
was her. But I do a
fantastic.
lot of, yeah.
Yes,
It
I wrote.
it's amazing.
Yeah,
It's necessary.
it
Sorry.
is. That's okay. I wrote one down because I love this one, and it just I would have never thought of this. What things prepared you for what you are going through now? That is such a great question because it helps you discover that you're strong. You're already strong. It's in you. These things are in you. What was one of the things that you discovered that you already had that helped you through this?
Yeah. Well, I know that I was already very independent. I was already a very independent person.
Mm-hmm.
And I know everyone always says you're so strong. I hate, I guess I was strong, I mean, but
Mm-hmm.
honestly, you don't know how strong you are until you are faced with tragedy or conflict.
Yes.
Um, I am definitely have always had an independent streak, and I have
Mm-hmm.
always, I don't like to fail. And I guess that would be the word I would like to use. I see a challenge, and I hate to call it a challenge because tragedy isn't a challenge,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to do the best that I can
Mm-hmm.
to, survival mode, I guess, kicks in. I'm not, failure is not an option for me. And when I saw myself broken, the most broken I've ever been in my life, it was, I have an innate need to fix it. I have to,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this can't be, this can't be happening. One thing I've learned though is you can't always be strong.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I want to tell people that are put in this situation who maybe have my personality. You can't be strong all the time, and it is okay to ask for help. There were so many things that I look back on and I really probably should have asked for help
Mm-hmm.
more.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's any time in your life to be weak or show weakness, this is it. This is the time. And I think I really struggled with that because I don't like to be weak. I am
Mm-hmm.
very strong willed. I'm very independent. I always have been,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the one thing I would tell you if you ever I hope no one ever finds himself in this situation, but if you do,
Mm-hmm.
lean on your friends, lean on your family because they're waiting. They just want to help.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
struggled with that.
Yeah.
Luckily I have fantastic family and friends and they just
Mm-hmm.
did.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people's family and friends won't. They're waiting for you to tell them. And it's okay to tell them because they're waiting.
Yes.
They want to do and they want, and if you're like me and you don't want to show weakness, you'll try to do everything and you'll just become a little bit more broken. And
Yeah.
It's okay to ask for help.
Good. Yeah. So important to get help.
Yeah,
It's not a shameful thing. It's you if you need help. I mean, it's there
yeah,
for you.
it is.
I feel like that I just want to say it seems like, and then I have one more question and we'll wrap up. But it's like Zoe is still with you. It's just her body's not here. Does it seem like that?
Truly believe it.
Yes.
I talk about that in my book about all the signs,
Mm-hmm.
and she she's just like her mama. She's a strong-willed little personality. She comes through a lot, with, and not just with me.
Mm-hmm.
She visits a lot of people, and she makes sure we know she's still here and that she's a little force to be reckoned with.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
So
no, she is.
let's end with your favorite memory or one of your favorite memories of Zoe that just makes your heart smile.
She had the best laugh, and no matter what she did, that girl was laughing, and it was one of those laughs that just was loud, but it was so full of energy, and it drew you in, and it made you just want to laugh with her. I mean, it really was. I have this video. I need to post it on my social media. It's called Chubby Bunny. And she's just laughing, and it is just the best laugh, and I will never ever forget it.
Nice. Very nice. Oh my gosh, Michelle, thank you. I've thoroughly enjoyed speaking with you today, having you as my guest. Hold your book up one more time and tell everybody
Yes.
again where they can get it.
This is my Rainbow to Key, and it's available on Amazon.com. It's also available via Kindle Unlimited and ebook.
All right. So be sure to go buy her book. Her story is so important. It's going to help anybody that's going through really a deep, horrific tragedy, but anybody that's struggling as well and needs some guidance on a path to healing. She's got just some great paths to take, and what she did was very poignant. So go buy her book. Michelle, hang on just for a second.
No problem. Thank you,
And
everyone.
yes.